Welcome to the Soul Dive. My name is Lebo. I am your host. With me today is my good friend Zintle of Blissful Farm. Before I introduce you, we do the check-in in perfect soul dive fashion. Let us ground our feet. We begin by grounding our feet and making sure that we are sitting comfortably, our spines elongated, in good posture, but also very much relaxed, relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your brow, relaxing your cheeks, just getting into that form of relaxed. We'll take a nice deep in breath and out, a deep in breath and out. I invite you to place a hand over your heart, over your chest, it doesn't matter which hand, so you're able to feel your heartbeat. Bringing your focus back to the breath, aware as your breath comes in that your breath is coming in, aware as your breath is going out that your breath is going out. Finding our natural breathing rhythm. If your breath is fast, you're aware that it is fast. If your breath is deep, you're aware that your breath is deep. Just being aware. We are not making an effort to breathe in any way. We are just becoming aware of what is true and real for us in this moment. Breathing in, aware that you're breathing out. Of course, you also may be aware of your thoughts. Brain is a thinking machine and it never shuts down. Take this time to not pay attention to your thoughts, but to allow them to come and go as they do, as people do when you're walking down the street and you're aware of them, not stopping to interact with them. Our attention is on our breath. We are aware as we're breathing in, aware as we're breathing out. Let's begin to align our breath a little bit. Our in-breath the same length as our out-breath. And that will help you with a count. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. Giving yourself permission to relax. You find that every now and then you do need to take that deep breath, channel it to whatever place feels a little bit tired, a little bit kinked, tense maybe. Taking another nice deep in breath and out. You will notice that you're a little bit more relaxed now than when you started. I invite you in this state to silently or out loud say these words with me. I love myself. I support myself. I support myself. I contribute to this world. I contribute to this world. Take a nice deep in breath, raising your arms up into the sky as you do. Bringing those hands, hand over palm, hand over shoulder, giving yourself a nice squeezy hug. And smile at yourself for taking this moment. Today's Soul of an Entrepreneur was filmed at Blissful Farm. Our guest is Zintle Mnyaka, the proprietor of this wonderful place. She is a coach, a healer, an entrepreneur, one who holds space for other healers as well as ourselves to heal our nation one heart at a time through blissfully curated and created moments. Stay tuned. Zintle, very much welcome to Soul Dive. Tell us a little bit about how you experience yourself as a soul. Who is Zintle? Who is this soul?
Well, Zintle is daughter of the Most High. She is a healer of different notes. She's an unconventional teacher. She's a mother of 3. And I think I'm actually a mother of the nation, really, like your intro had said, because I embrace just pretty much everyone around me. Those I meet, those who need me, even those who actually don't ask, for me to embrace them, I actually embrace them because that's who I am. But I think most of all, I am just a lover of life, and I just live to experience life, and I like sharing my life with other people and how other people experience themselves, out of the box. And that's basically,
Wow. Please tell us a little bit about your background, what we'd say a backstory, when you think of a hero, you're like, yeah, what's the backstory? As it pertains to how it's brought you to where you're at in this moment.
Wow, this is actually, didn't realize that interviews become
so deep.
So deep. So I am, I think the description of who I am really does resonate with what I've done so far, but the background would then perhaps be brought more on the professional side, where I started with marketing and communication, and I moved from there. That was in 1998, and then from there I then moved into events by default.
Was this in the Eastern Cape, or because I remember most of your firsts were in Cape Town?
Yes, actually, yes. In Cape Town it was. So I started in Cape Town. I started my business whilst I was on my 3rd job. Whilst I was working, I started my business, and when I could see that things are looking good, and I left. I used to work at Telkom as the last place of my employment.
Wow, yeah.
And from there, I went on to really dip into this whole marketing and communication. I have actually gone to do marketing and communication with, then it was called the Tech, and I've done PR with Dummy and all that. So, my background basically is from that, and then I went on to go and do social entrepreneurship. So each and every element of my business, when it shifts and there's something that I'm being veered towards by the universe, I then go and try and find some information,
some training,
so that I kind of have a background in all that. So I was interested in the NPO world and how I could help and extend myself to that world. So I did social entrepreneurship with Gibbs, and then I moved from there to go and do an NLP coaching, because now my world had changed into me wanting to have one-on-ones with people and all that. So I needed to kind of have the understanding of the intricacies of dealing with people. I'm not a psychologist, but there's a lot of psychology that's applied in NLP and all that. So that's what I've been doing, and that culminated into Blissful Farm.
Wow. We will talk about Blissful Farm at great length just now. I want to take you back to, working first. Of course, when we talk to entrepreneurs, there's this thought that says, you start out just knowing, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. What was that journey like for you? Did you approach corporate with a thing that says, I'm learning so that I can practice some of these things?
Oh, wow.
Or how did that come about for you?
Totally different. I don't think I had an intention to be an entrepreneur yet when I went to corporate. I wanted to experience corporate really. of sitting behind a desk and having my own office and all that. So that was
Dressing
the world,
up for
dressing up
work.
and heels and everything. And so when I went to work, for me it was not about that. Corporate was not about business yet, but I was always entrepreneurial. At school, I actually started a business. I had a tuck shop.
Wow.
And I would actually have a cooler box into the train with a backpack with my books, and I'd sell burgers, chips, sweets and drinks, to my fellow students and all that. So there was always that thing that says, I'm born for this. So I think I am actually born to be an entrepreneur, really.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And I mean, I actually tell a story of a while ago when I was in grade 3.
A while ago.
Yes. Yeah. There's this lady that used to sell fat cooks.
Yes.
And so when I don't have money, I would then barter trade with her. I'll look for people to come and buy.
Wow.
And then every client that I bring, every 2 clients that I bring, then I get Ibri and all those things. So it was like, I always had a knack for it, really. Yes. And then when I was working for Telkom, my uncle, who passed on a while ago, we called him Geketsi Mondays, he's so rest in peace. He got me into this. By default, he asked me to do him a favor, and that favor was so involved, and that's what brought me into communication marketing and events, because it was all encompassing. I had to actually devise a strategy for him to do what he wanted to do, and then I had to carry out the strategy.
Wow.
And so I was like, I had the knack for this. I mean, I was able to make phone calls and get people to respond, get the Ritz Hotel to give us the place for free. I was like, I could do this.
The Ritz Hotel, bro. Yeah.
Then it was the thing in Cape Town then and all that. And yes, so I mean, the second one was a good one. We started doing a roadshow together. He started paying me now because I was like, okay, brah, And I think that's when I realized that I could do this, as a business.
Yes.
And then somebody else then asked. I then started putting a marketing brochure for myself, and I started selling myself, not even knowing that I can really do this or not.
Yeah.
And that's what brought me into business. So I kind of got into it by default, but I had actually done something that I was studying for. So he asked me to almost like be in service training. So he kind of inducted me into an in-service training of some sort, but that I liked, that I thought, okay, I don't have to work for anyone. I can work for myself. And I was 22 when that happened.
It sounds very intuitive. It sounds like you somehow, yes, there were external people that would come and say, can you do this, can you do that? But it sounds very much like you had honed your ability to listen to what feels right and, is right on a visceral level for you to do. Has that always been a thing, that you're so in touch with your intuition?
I'd like to believe it was, but I was not recognizing, so I kind of went with the flow. I actually still go with the flow.
It's literally the description of living by intuition, but okay.
Yes, I still go with the flow, so yes.
Yeah.
So I guess it has always been there, but I wasn't aware that's how I was living.
You didn't label it. You didn't put a
I didn't
name
put a
to
label,
it.
but
Yes.
now that you say and ask me, I am realizing that, or rather recognizing that, yes, I have been living by intuition.
That is brilliant. That is brilliant. Everybody has a turning point, and I know you've got a very big one, but I want to just usher you into, when you decide that your life and business needs to express more of who you are and be more in line with the values that you embody. When was that turning point for you?
So I think the turning point for me was the experiences that I went through in 2008. Mainly they were health related, but then that changed everything about every other thing that was happening in my life at that point in time. And within that health journey, I then realized that there were a lot of things that I needed to start doing right, including the fact that I started eating right for my blood type in order to heal, So as part of my healing journey, and I realized that there's so many people who don't understand about the fact that we are indeed what we eat, right? And so all the experiences that I went through during my healing moment, it was an aha moment on how I could help more people to be able to, to do these things. And some of them didn't need money, but they just needed us to practice and have an understanding of how to live, healthy.
Be more intentional.
And more intentional, yes, indeed, on everything that we do. We've got a high prevalence of people, of mental, people who are going through mental illness and all that. And some of it's things that we could actually, do in order to, reduce or even avert, the whole mental illness and all that. Yeah. And so because I've also suffered for 2 years depression, but I couldn't live with it. And for a very long time, until somebody then was able to then say to me, you are actually, this is what you've been going through.
Poisoning yourself.
You're poisoning yourself and all that. And so that's how, for me, I then evolved, into where I am.
So one of the gifts I've noticed in you is that you have a wonderful gift for starting again. Tell us about some of the lessons that you have learned that are in your toolbox when you find yourself at a restart. These are some of the things that you check. I've got this in place, this in place, this in place. What are some of those for you?
I think the first thing is recognizing what it is that you want to do and go for it. And yes, it's important to be in line, but don't second guess yourself, because then the first time when you've got that intuition to start something, it is actually the right one.
Yeah.
But also, I've now learned that you need to really prepare yourself, for whatever it is, that whatever business that you're going into. So I always tell my my coachees, that those who are in business or wanting to start business, that the 5 W's and an H have always been my guiding, light in everything that I do. So what it is that you want to do, where it is that you want to do it, when do you want to start this, why do you think you need to do this, and who is going to be part of this journey of yours, whether it is an investor, whether it is the people that have the human resources that you need, and whether it's going to be the people that you send, and then the how. It's very important, because then all these things for me then have really helped me to say, if I'm starting this time around, I need to know what it is that I'm doing and how I'm doing it and who's going to be part of it. Yeah. And one friend of mine once said, and sometimes it really disturbs me, but I'm really walking into the light. He said, you're a good starter, but you're not a good finisher. So I've always imagined and asked myself, was that the reason why I had to restart? But then I realized, no, the reason why sometimes we have to restart is because at that point in time, that worked. But perhaps that was not my purpose. So when you
recognizing that,
yes,
and pivoting.
Yes. So once you realized what your purpose is, it's easy for you to then be in tune with everything else that happens afterwards. And also passion.
Yeah.
You can be passionate about certain things, but it might not be your purpose. So the universe will bring you back towards itself. Yeah. And for me, it has been that this way, I'm not starting.
Yeah.
I'm just going to expand from it. I'm going to grow from it, and I'm going to, pull certain things into where I am now. But the others were probably driven by different things, and that's another thing we need to recognize as businesses, as especially entrepreneurs, that sometimes other people think. I've never been one of doing things because other people are doing it. I think actually I've always been a trailblazer somehow, because I go into places where people will be like, "What made you think of this? Like, why would you actually think that this would work?"
Yes.
And whenever you say it's not going to work, that's exactly the time I'm actually wanting to go and see and prove you that it would work. Yeah. So I've always had the will. Whatever that I start, I need to prove to people that it works and it can
Yes.
happen, and that I don't have to be rich to do it.
Yes.
I just have to have the passion and the will to get up and go.
So there is that whole thing of being a trailblazer, which is beautiful. It is brilliant. Every one of us aspires to being a trailblazer. But perhaps there are signs that let you know that this is a possible business in something that other people just see a thing in you, and you are able to look at it and say, there is potential there. What is that you see when you look at it?
The businesses that I've been to.
Like the things that just make you realize, Vita, I know this could be a business. Because as a trailblazer, a lot of it are not things that somebody has already done. It's something you are charting a new path into.
For me, it's always about the experiences. So, and once I've had an experience, and I see the potential to be able to spread it to other people and find ways. So I always say that when you have something, make sure that you can enjoy it, but at the same time you find ways to make a living of it. So for me, passion must also must pay the bills, right? So whenever I have an experience that I feel that needs to be shared with other people, I then work out something that would then culminate into whatever that business is. Like I said, the first business really, it was through the experience of saying, oh, I can do this, Some of them though had been, like I said, the experiences through going to some of these things, or seeing people going through things that I feel like, actually we could come with a solution. We could do this, or I've seen this happening somewhere, and maybe if we could mix it with this, then it would come to something that would help people. Like there's always, healers are always
concocting something. I love it. So, of course, your turning point being a health-related one, and I guess a thing that says to you, are you living in a way that enhances your health or draws your energy and makes you feel like you're losing breath every moment? Is this what made you end up deciding, yes, and we're gonna do a blissful farm? I need to help people find their bliss.
Partly, when I label, I've always had people telling me that I was a healer, and I really have never seen the healing part of me. And then another friend who was a pastor then says to me, do you understand that you're a teacher? So I'm like, what is this people going on about? Me, a teacher. I mean, first of all, I always thought that I was terrible in talking to people, but then I do make people understand things, and I've been doing it all my life, really, and I seem to have made a shift in a lot of people's lives in different ways at different times in their lives, which has made them to progress somehow. Or have been able to actually then have a shift to the next level of their lives. And when mine was not going right, I then took a trip. And when I took that trip to Thailand, where one of the coaches, well-known coach, I don't know if I can mention her.
Please mention Vangile.
Vangile Mapwaka, who was the one that really made me to actually think a lot about where I am and where I'm going, and the things that I've been going through that I've been suppressing. But now that experience for me, I mean, it costed me a bit to be in Thailand. And I was like, okay, how about we actually have this a little bit closer to home? And so that I can still be able to bring the Vangiles. Vangile, remember, you still owe me a visit at Blissful.
Yes,
I know that you're
and also
listening.
Soul Dive is there, yes.
Yes, So it was being able to have Lebu come into the space and express, her gift. Have there's a lot of labels in my life. There's another label who's also in the same space, and I was like, I want to have all of them, and as you said, I'll hold space for them, and then they can express their gift and share it with other people without having to actually fly to Thailand. At least fly to East London. I mean, it's an hour, 20 minutes flight, and from Johannesburg, and about an hour from Durban. So
why not?
Why not? And 3 hours drive from PE, and it's very scenic, coming here.
And we have a beach.
But lots of them.
Okay, so your vision. Tell us a little bit. I mean, you've started to tell us a bit about it, but who is this vision speaking to? Your age, who is it? Who are these people that we're saying? There's Blissful. Come on over this side. We can help with X, Y, Z, whatever.
When I started Leo, my focus was on executives, because I have been one for quite a while. I've been in business for 23 years this year. I'm marking 23 years. And I started at 22 and I'm 45. So the numbers. So initially for me, there's a lot that I saw that we lacked as executives that actually was bringing the whole company to a scramble. Because then I've been in that environment. I've been in a company where I had to do a turnaround strategy and then implement it. And I realized that sometimes we lose the Ubuntu. And when we lose that Ubuntu, it's not because we are bad people. It is because our experiences have brought us into a point where we don't know how to actually bring ourselves back to ourselves. And some people don't understand what that means. And so I want to be able to actually help people to discover themselves. And once they've discovered themselves, restore whatever that's standing in their way so that they can transform and become who they are purposed to be on earth.
Wow. Wow.
So
it is so inspirational. Can we just bask in the moment of just wow.
Yeah.
That is so inspirational.
Yeah, so ultimately it's not just about executives anymore. It is about anyone out there that is wanting to be who they are meant to be, and perhaps not knowing how to actually walk that path. We all are on a journey, and we all sometimes have to really discover who we are in order for us to transform. But I always say to people that, sometimes we think that once you've discovered, then you can transform. When you discover, there is a lot of deep inner work that you're going to have to do. And that is the restoration part, because then you find a lot of things that actually are standing in your way, a lot of experiences that are making you to be where you are and actually preventing you to be where you are needing or you are meant to be. So when you are here, our target is anybody that says, I want to really be who I'm meant to be. And if you don't know who that is, then we will help you find that being
in this vast forest. You can find yourself.
Yes. Indeed.
Oh, that is beautiful.
So that's where we are.
Okay, we will link details of how to get a hold of Zintle and her team at Blissful Farm, and I hope that this has helped you just to begin to have a clue about some of the things that are available. Because one of the things, of course, is that the resources are there. It's just knowing who do I speak to when I want to know how to whatever, especially when it pertains to our hearts and souls.
Yeah, and I think another thing is that the heart thing sometimes becomes very personal, or sometimes we're unable to express, what that is that we're going through. And so one of the things that we host at Blissful Farm, which we're going to be hosting post-COVID, we will host them quite regular, is monthly weekend retreats, where you have groups of people that gather together, because you will be amazed that from somebody else sharing, you actually get your healing from there. And sometimes realizing that your problem actually isn't as big as you thought. It's all unique is. And so just that experience and being in this environment also, we always have to be in touch with Mother Nature. And believe me, Mother Nature brings you back to yourself. So you heal, yes, and that's what we really intend to do, is to help you heal as a people. I am about healing the nation, so this is where it starts.
One heart at a time.
Yeah.
Here we go. Right.
Yeah.
Do you have any words that you want to give us, your last words on this show? Of course you're going to come back, because yes, we would like very much for you to come back. Maybe
I'd
have
love
a
to
topic
come
that
back
we'll talk
too.
over. How funny is it that I'm saying you'll come back to the Soul Dive when we are at Blissful Farm filming Soul Dive?
Yeah, well, that's the light part of it, right?
Yeah, totally. So some last words you'd like to say to our eternal souls out there that have joined us?
Well, I think the first thing is to say it is important for us to be intentional about our lives. And when we don't know how to be intentional, find somebody to help you to do that. We are all spiritual people, and how we express that spirituality, it is your own journey. And you need to be able to actually recognize your own journey. And it doesn't matter what we experience, you eventually, emerge to where you're supposed to be. So what I want to tell everybody, no, actually not even tell, share with everybody, I'm not telling anyone, I'm sharing, guys, is that all you need is blissfulness within you. When you find the bliss in you, you then emerge as the butterfly that you are meant to be.
Blossom and you
bloom.
bloom.
And all that. So just find you. And when you found you, you become that person that touches a soul. And for me, it is important for everyone to always touch, even if it's just one soul at a time. Touch a soul, and you will see that your life can just open to a whole lot of other possibilities. And that's all I ask for.
Wow. That is such brilliant words. I usually end with, a summary of what we've discussed. No, I will not be doing that. Okay? Zintle has done it so well for us. Just touching on the fact that what we do as business does not necessarily have to be on a lane of its own. It is part of us. It is an expression of who we are, and we can incorporate everything that we are into an output that is sustainable for us and beneficial for others and creates value in the world. And this is the way of being in the world that I hope we all can commit to doing. So if you want to agree with us, if you want us in fact to agree with you on your hopes, your dreams, your things that you're wanting to actually begin to establish in your life, make a comment below or even inbox the Soul Dive and we'll have a chat with you. It's been a great pleasure.
Thank you so much, Lebo. I actually enjoyed this. So Nana was scared, guys.
I wonder why. Why do people get scared about the Soul Dive? Thank you so much. It's been the Soul Dive. My name is Lebo from us at Blissful Farm. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Till we meet again. Mwah.
Cheers, guys.